Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Abdullah Mason is one of the, I suppose you'd call him the blue chip prospects, rapidly becoming a bona fide contender. I think he's just turned 21. He's from Ohio in the US, and he scored a fantastic, really mature win over Jeremiah Nakathila. And this was a fifth round stoppage because of a bad swelling and a cut over the left eye. The doctor, I think, pulled out Nakathila after 5 rounds, but there's no doubt who was winning the fight. It was Mason. Like I say, Mason looked very, very mature for a kid of 21. I mean, now if you go back to the latter end of the latter part of 2024, Mason was in a real firefight with a guy called Johan Vasquez, and he knocked Vasquez out in the second round. But in the first round, he was down twice, and he had a very cavalier, come forward, I'm going to knock you out with every punch sort of attitude, and he got dumped on his ass for twice in the opening round. They weren't very heavy knockdowns, but it did show, you can't just walk in against anyone, punchers especially, and expect to, to just have your own way willy-nilly. But he seems to have learned from that, because it was chalk and cheese. I mean, this performance against Nakathila was extremely controlled, offensive, but at the same time, he wasn't neglecting his defense. He's actually a southpaw, Abdullah Mason, and he came out, and Nakathila is a very capable fighter. Nakathila came in with 26 wins and 4 defeats. And, he's fought for a world title. His chin looks a bit ropey, to be honest with you. He's been stopped a couple of times quite recently. And it probably is at the back end of his career, I suppose you'd say. But nevertheless, he had more than enough left to give Mason plenty to think about. I mean, he's 35 now. So, like I say, he's at the end of his career. Orthodox fighter. Of the 4 defeats on his record, like I say, two were by KO. That was back in 2023. He got stopped in 2 rounds by a couple of fighters, decent fighters, undefeated fighters, Raymond Muratalla and Ernesto Mercado. But nevertheless, it does sort of show that his chin might be a vulnerability. And he came back with 3 wins against nondescript opposition. But Mason fought like a veteran, even though he's only 21. I mean, this kid is really, really good. And Nakathila at the start looked, he looked the part. He looked like he was doing he was feinting very well. He looked like he didn't look intimidated. He was, I suppose you'd call him a veteran at 35. He's in against a guy who's a kid who's, there's the age difference is so prominent that he's almost old enough to be Mason's father. And he didn't fight like a shot fighter, Nakathila. He fought like someone who had a little bit of ambition, was throwing his own punches, but at the same time, Mason was gradually creeping forward, using his feet very, very well. Nothing reckless about this performance. Not like the Vasquez near upset. He was jabbing very, very well from the southpaw stance, bringing his backhand into play. There were a few punches to the body. And when he landed, sometimes when a fighter lands, even if he hasn't hurt the opponent, there's a sort of there's an ominous feeling as if the guy is going to go through the gears and gradually grind the opponent down. And that was occurring quite quickly. I got the impression that was, that was kind of happening, that Mason was having a look, gradually edging forward. And then as the rounds ticked by, he was letting his hands go more and being intelligently more aggressive. And sure enough, whenever he clipped Nakathila was shaking. I think had the fight not been stopped after 5 rounds, Mason would probably have knocked him out. But Nakathila, if you look at his wins, he's got 26 wins with 21 KOs. So Mason was right to be a little bit circumspect. Excuse me, a little bit cautious. Because if you're in against a guy who's that experienced and can hit hard, you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful. And he was careful. And he fought a really sort of exemplary fight. I like this kid a lot. I think this kid can really fight. And I think at 21, it's scary, you know, how good he might become. He's been matched brilliantly, Abdullah Mason. I mean, this was an excellent matchup against a veteran, heavy hitting veteran, seen better days, but still has something left. And he's stopping these guys. He's not edging out majority decisions. He's stopping, you know, he's going through the levels, and he's stopping the opponents. You know, apart from that one fight against Vasquez, where he just was really sloppy and got tagged, a couple of flash knockdowns. Apart from that, I'm hard pushed to think of him losing a round. And I've seen quite a few of his fights. He's had 19 fights now with 17 stoppages, and he fights every 6 weeks, every other month. Really being brought on really excellently, really well. So I expect big things from this kid. He is ranked already by at least 2 of the ruling bodies, I think, probably more. And, you know, expect to see him in there. Expect with leading lightweights. I mean, there's no hurry, of course. I wouldn't chuck him in at the absolute top yet. Let him build. He's being brought along well. But I would expect him, if he continues on this trajectory, to, you know, rule the lightweight division. If not sooner than later. You know, he's got that amount of talent. He exudes talent. He exudes ring intelligence as well. You know, he's very calm in there. He knows his punch picking is very good. He's very accurate when he punches. He's fast. Uses his feet well. There isn't a lot about this kid not to like. So Abdullah Mason, you probably know about him already, but if you haven't seen this fight, go and have a look. I saw it on YouTube, and yeah, very good fight. Very good fighter. Anyway, tell me what you think. As usual, comments below. Please, if you like this video, hit that little like button because it helps us out. They count the likes. I still don't know why, but they do. And hit the subscribe button. We've got plenty more for you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And bye for now.